Part 2, Traps and Tribulations. Chapter 1, On the Road Again. We are leaving the city of absolute stupor, which I held a burning hatred in my soul for their unscrupulous nobility, which I vowed to vanquish on behalf of the honor of myself and the remainder of the party who were at least at fault. We hiked our way to a vacant little town. There was no one in sight, and strangely, everything was mostly gone too. Most of our party was not present yet, so I had some fun with my new changeling apprentice. I used my packed weapon to give the mighty Trick a claymore. He put it to good use, chopping down trees, cutting down those trees into smaller parts, and helping me by holding what I was making. Together, we made a great cart for our party, but alas, they still had not arrived. I looked in almost every house, and finally found something of substance. It was a beaten and weathered book that held the secrets to a powerful, dangerous entity. It was sealed in an obelisk, which was located in an area called the Prismatorium. I also found some more proper cartwheels, and with my ingenuity, I built an oversized wheelbarrow. I marveled at my creation, and something caught my glance. There was a huge, eerie cave with a huge entrance. The rest of the party soon arrived, and we continued our adventure. We made our way into the entrance, but I decided to sneak because of the possible dangers inside. It also didn't help that the folks who populated this town either jumped the metaphorical ship or had a cruel fate to whatever was in this cave. My hubris was on point because, like I expected, there was something. Before we could even enter, we met a survivor who also shared my premonition. He warned us too, but we went forward to find out for ourselves. Chapter 2, Walkers and Wealth. We walked in the cave to find something expected, but at the same time, a thing unexpected. It was a bunch of zombies doing what I can only describe as sorting. They were so focused on the sorting that moving around them was a breeze, even if they saw us. They were doing this on a large, long table that seemed to stretch across the first floor of the cave. There were 2 piles on each side of the table. It was the shiny thing that were of value and everything else. The middle was strictly for sorting still massive piles of things from the towns nearby, or at least I assume. I wasn't there for the details, but I was just there for the gold. The edgelord's destruction caused me to level up, so I had a new spell at my disposal. The always useful spell, Suggestion. I simply took 2 of the best undead specimens and made them drop off the gold in the cart. I decided after using my new trick, I would use my other new trick. Me and my new right-hand man made easy work of one and blasted away the other. They brought a mountain of wealth and cool-looking stuff. This move was a massive benefit to our party's morale and our pockets. We rested with smiles and silver. With a short rest later, we made our way back to the cave. Inside what I previously described, the piles were almost identical to the ones previous. We finally approached the next floor, and it was just more zombies who didn't pay us any mind. We continued on our trail until we found a well-lit area that looked almost fancy. We opened the cool-looking door, which led us into a small library. There was one figure who was analyzing a book. He welcomed us into his lair, and the rest of the party was hesitant. But Landon wasn't raised in a barn. I sat down and conversed with the Lich. Oddly, I was the only one who could tell that this guy was a genuine Lich, and even the paladin thought that this man was a necromancer. They saw this man as a crook, but I saw this man as a tool. One that could get my revenge at the town who dishonored me for my heroism. Chapter 3, Lichy Business. Me and the man spoke like businessmen, and he revealed why he was there. There was a strong power in these caves, and he wanted to harvest it. I pushed the idea of taking out that dumb kingdom, and it turned out that that was one of his motives to harvest the power. The only reason he wasn't able to get that power was the fact that the place was loaded with traps. This was no easy task, but our party was easily persuaded with the hopes of wealth and riches. We were led to the door of the dungeon. It had the words etched onto the entrance, "The Prismatorium." We were a bit worried, but we still had hopes of more gold. We made our way through the dungeon, and there was nothing but traps. There was a fire trap that seared our paladin. He lost his eyebrows. There was a log trap that bodied me. There was a pressure plate trap straight out of Indiana Jones that gave our ranger a 4-course meal of pain. We fixed ourselves up after each issue and found this glowing elevated plate. Our ranger touched it and it opened a door. He touched another one and it opened one more. We kept doing this until we found a strange room with an obelisk at the end of the dungeon. This was the strong force that the Lich was looking for. We led him straight to the room and we waited for our payment. Chapter 4: Demons and the Dead. The Lich wanted to destroy the obelisk to release the power, and I wasn't against the idea of it, but it was a terrible idea. I thought it was also a good way to betray him if he sees us as unneeded anymore. Trick destroys the obelisk, and after we saw what it was, we got out of there. I tried to seal the cave-in with Trick's assistance, but this monster easily broke through and made its way to the party and the Lich. This monster was a demon with crab limbs and huge claws. That monster bodied the Lich and nearly ripped him in half. The party ran, but I stayed. I had an idea. I started casting Hex. Then I had Trick attack with his claymore. It took a long time, but the demon was finally slayed. The treasure was ours, and we made our way to it. I got last dibs on the loot, but at least Trick prospered. There was a non-magical +2 claymore. The other players got a bag of holding, a bag of devouring, and some other thing. We quickly found out which bag was harmful, and that was used for hijinks. We left that cave, but were stopped by some paladins who were also in search for the power inside. Chapter 5: Paladins and the Near Pounding. The paladins were being pushy and antagonizing. Our party was tired, but more tired of some grunts from a terrible religion. They wanted us to hand over what we found in the cave, and I handed them the bag of devouring. One of the paladins died by putting their head in the bag, but one of the other holy men resurrected him. The religion was one of actual power, but the higher-ups turned the thing into a political weapon and used fear-mongering. Not necessarily one that was unreal, but more or less fake. They wanted us dead after that, but I reminded them that we didn't even know what it did. They gave us 2 days to pack up our things and leave. Before they could look even further into the item, I used my old crutch. I casted a signature mysterious napkin and got our official party chamber, pot and guillotine back. We would soon leave victorious and wealthy, but I had some time to kill and people to trick. Old habits die hard.